Hey guys, Beth and Murphy here. So we're still doing our countdown from Introvert Spring, and I hesitated a little bit. I wanted to make sure I had the right frame of mind to do this one because I try to be extremely transparent and really honest about who I am and everything I know about myself as an INFJ. Honest about who I am and everything I know about myself as an INFJ. That way you can have the best chance of getting something from this, from my honesty. Because I think we are different. And, I love us and I support us and I think we're wonderful. And I think we're an underdog. And that's why I was so motivated to keep doing these videos. Because I remember as a kid, I felt so isolated and so alone. And now there's just no reason to feel that way. We have the internet. We have access to tons of people. We can have our own little community where we're safe and happy and sharing and caring and all that good stuff. So there's no reason to feel like that anymore. But obviously we have things that are like our Achilles heel type things. So I want to be really honest about that stuff too. So that brings to mind this next one in our countdown. Last time we did losing touch with our true self. That's a good one. That happens to me a lot. I have to keep myself in check on that one. And meditating is a good way to do that. You have to keep centering yourself because our empathy kind of brings our attention around to everyone. So go back and watch that video if that's something you're resonating with. But today we're doing another one, which I think resonates. It certainly does with me. Confusing or offending people with their behavior. Now, I haven't read this. I just agree with the title right now. I don't know if I'll agree with the writer. I don't even know if they're an INFJ, but here we go. INFJs are known for being great conversationalists who others flock to. They love people and love to socialize, except, of course, when they don't. Just like any other introverted personality, INFJs lose energy during social interaction. At a certain point, they need to be alone. Naturally, others are confused and sometimes offended when a usually sociable INFJ shuts down and wants to be left alone. Now, this is funny because I'm going to insert a photo that I just sent to my friend Jill that you see in our videos. Average Jill is the name of her channel. But we call ourselves two INFJs. I just sent her this little picture and I'll insert it here in my video. Okay, I agree with all of this. 100% for myself. I always say I'm speaking for myself. I just have an idea that you would agree with me. I think I'm a great conversationalist. And why would that be? Because I notice everything all the time. It's all I do. It's like I'm here to be some sort of scout. And it's all I do is just look around and take note of things that are interesting. And you know that we think in layers, we think in this depth. So we do pick out stuff. And I know that when I'm in a particularly up mood, what I'm doing is spinning that information and turning it funny. I know this about myself. It was something that I used to use as a tool to feel more like everyone else. If I could make them laugh, I could fit in. So I would do that. And also I would do it in my family just to turn the mood. And it worked. You can take people out of their moment when you use humor. And I have a theory that a lot of comedians are INFJs. I mean, look at them. They're beautiful, tortured artists. All they're doing, if you hear them, even Jerry Seinfeld, now he's not tortured, but he has a bit of cynicism. He's a happy guy, but he's got this underlying vein of cynicism that cracks me up. But this man is noticing everything, So anyway, great for being conversationalists who others flock to. They love people and love to socialize. Now that's great. See, I didn't know that about others. But the ones that I do know that aren't terribly introverted, they do feel that way. I feel that way. I'm only 11% introverted over the threshold. 11% over the threshold. So, but when I need to be alone, I really need to be alone. And I don't want to see people for sure. And that's more often than not. But I can have these up moments at times where I just want to entertain everyone. Just like the paragraph is saying, there's love to socialize, except of course when they don't, right? Because when I shut it off, it's off. And I don't know necessarily when it's going to happen. So I don't schedule 2 things in a row. This is something I've learned to do. I remember talking to my friend Jill about it last holiday. Like if a party's coming up, I'm not even going to get groceries near that party. Like if I have to socialize on Friday, I'll try to get my groceries on Tuesday or Wednesday. Not near the Friday. That's too much peopling. So that's just how I deal, you know. Okay, so back to the article. Yeah, it says we lose energy during social interaction, for sure. And why wouldn't we? Because we're empaths. We're busy doing what we usually do in regular life, which is scanning, seeing how everyone's feeling, because we're so conscientious. We can't not do it. So that can be draining, because you're taking yourself out of yourself. And I call it checking. This is just part of who I am. I'm always checking on everyone. And at a certain point, they need to be alone. And then they're claiming in the article, naturally others are confused and sometimes offended when a usually sociable INFJ shuts down and wants to be left alone. Totally get that. I remember doing this to someone. My husband and I, we ride motorcycles, and many years ago, probably like 15 years ago, we joined a large club. And 15 years ago, I was a little more extroverted even. And I would entertain people. Like a large group. This was our biggest city in Connecticut, Hartford. So I remember though, I wasn't always wanting to be that way. So sometimes they would, 300 people would see me like making announcements or talking. I put together a vacation for everyone. I don't think I would ever do that now. But so they thought I was like that all the time. And then I remember we were going out to lunch because we'd go on rides on a Sunday with these people. And I wasn't having one of those days. If my energy is low, I definitely don't want to see other people. No way. I want to be by myself with my husband. You've probably got one person that you don't get sick of. Your spouse, your best friend, your sister, your mom, your child. Even if it's just your pets. There's something that you can be with in your low points, your comfort. So that's all that I ever want if my energy is low. I want my comfort. Or, in nature or something. I just need not people. Can't say this eight different ways. I guess I really am adamant about this. But back then, I think I was forcing myself to do more because I did not have a sense of who I was. I definitely didn't know about these different types. So I was at lunch. I remember this guy staring at me, one of the regulars in the group, and he's like, "Beth, what's wrong?" I'm like, "Nothing." And then he just kept pestering me because he wasn't a nice, warm, fuzzy person. He's kind of a jerk mostly. So he was really needling me, and it was being nosy, and it was pissing me off. And I think the more that he knew he was pissing me off, the more he kept asking, like, "Oh, you just don't seem like yourself," or he thought I was gonna maybe talk behind someone's back, and he was down in those lower energies. I didn't want anything to do with him. But I realized that in that moment, I realized that I'm not consistent. I'm not a consistent personality like most people seem to be. Most people seem, and now I'm going to put up a picture of a scale of emotions. This is a tool that I use in my counseling to manage your emotions and to bump you up to the next level. But that would be, I'd talk about that in another video. But what I'm showing you here, now most people kind of live around a certain area of emotions. Most, they're either usually all content or usually all a little bit sad or pessimistic. Most people hang out in the same area. They don't go all over the scale. I go all over the scale. And I didn't know that other people weren't doing that. And as my friend Jody, an INFJ who comments for us, she just said that on one of my last videos. And yes, she's absolutely speaking for myself as well. I'm passionate about everything. When I'm depressed, I'm passionately depressed. And now in my older years, I just know to be quiet for a while and it will pass. I didn't always know that. So, yeah, I totally get it why others would be confused, because I'm not consistent. I'm not consistent now. I don't think I ever will be, because part of my INFJness is noticing everything. All I've done is even out my emotions. I've taken off the rough edges, and this was done by being an observer. Even my friend Jill, the average Jill, INFJ, she mentioned this when we first got together about a year ago, about Buddha, the practice of Buddhism. And I said, yeah, I know about that. It's called the middle way. That she was describing that peaceful way of existing. And it's what I also think is what we call the observer. You take yourself out of the situation. Then you don't ride all those emotional waves, like we tend to do because of our empath abilities. So that's how I feel about that paragraph. And that's why we only do one at a time now, because I've probably been talking for 15 minutes. And I want everyone to just have little bits of me. Leave them wanting more. All right. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate hanging out with me. I hope you learned something today. If you want to share, leave it in the comments. You never know. Someone might read it 2 years from now and might resonate. Maybe they will be new to their INFJness or something and feel a camaraderie. All right. See you next time, guys. Looks like overthinking will be our next one. I'm going to say yes on that one. And I look forward to seeing you guys really soon. Love you. Bye.